One of President Trump's Secret Service agents was caught politicizing and making light of Charlie Kirk's assassination on Facebook. Susan Crabtree, the national correspondent for Real Clear Politics, discovered this post. Secret Service agent Anthony Poe posted, "If you are mourning this guy, delete me." He spewed hate and racism on his show, especially when we should be mourning the innocent children killed in Colorado. At the end of the day, you answer to God and speak things into existence. You can only circumvent karma. She doesn't leave. So obviously, he was calling Charlie Kirk's death karma. He basically blamed Charlie Kirk for his own death, similar to what we heard yesterday on MSNBC. What makes this so alarming is that after the incident in Butler, Pennsylvania, there have been a lot of questions about the security team around President Trump and whether they're actually doing their job. Now, Charlie Kirk was not only on a first-name basis with President Trump, but he was friends with everyone in the administration. They obviously share a lot of the same views, and Charlie Kirk worked tirelessly to help make sure that President Trump was re-elected. So if this Secret Service agent basically is demonizing Charlie Kirk, is saying that anyone who's mourning Charlie Kirk's death should unfriend him, is this someone whose judgment, is this someone whose character we trust to be in charge of the safety of the President of the United States? Personally, I don't think so. Now, there is good news in all of this, according to Laura Loomer, who is touted by some as basically one of the top advisors in the White House without actually being a formal advisor. But according to her, she has an exclusive scoop. A Department of Homeland Security resource tells me now that Anthony Poe, the current U.S. Secret Service agent who mocked the assassination of Charlie Kirk on Facebook today, has been put on administrative leave and he is now facing termination. He said Charlie's murder was karma. Keep sending me screenshots of all federal employees who cheer or mock Charlie's death. I'm personally going to make sure these people get fired. Laura Loomer does have a direct line to President Trump. They are on a texting basis. And in fact, a lot of his policies, a lot of his social media posts are influenced by her. So she, no matter what you think about her conclusions or her tone or her rhetoric, when it comes to exclusive scoops, she tends to be spot on and basically on the cutting edge of information. So I do believe her that this man was likely put on leave, and her even posting that does corroborate what Susan Crabtree was posting, basically that this really was a Secret Service person who posted this. Now, the reason this is catching a lot of attention, in addition to, just obviously his judgment or lack thereof, there are a lot of questions about the security at Charlie Kirk's event. There's a video going viral on Facebook, and in fact, it's already been viewed around 40 million times, showing questionable hand movements of Charlie Kirk's security at the event. But before I get into that, I know a lot of people watching my channel are skeptical. We like to do our own research for ourselves, but sometimes it is nice to use some trust and guidance, especially when it comes to medical advice, taxes, and Medicare. Unfortunately, a lot of Medicare agents push Medicare Advantage plans even when they're not right for you because they make more money doing it. And that's why I'm partnering with Chapter. Unlike others, they don't just tout the amazing benefits of Medicare Advantage, they walk you through all of your Medicare options, including Original Medicare, Medicare Supplement, Medicare Advantage, and Part D, explaining the pros and cons of each. They support you in comparing every plan against your specific healthcare needs because they want to ensure that you have the best coverage for you. One Chapter Jill said her advisor presented options she didn't even see on the Medicare.gov website, and in many cases, Chapter saves people over $1,000 a year by getting them on the right plan. So if you're on Medicare or you're going to be, click the link down below to get in touch and feel confident about your coverage, or feel free to call 321-358-2297. This is a free resource for my audience. No pressure, just free, honest, ethical guidance. Now, in regards to Charlie Kirk's security, a lot of people are paying attention to two men in particular. One of them was wearing a white baseball cap and another one wearing a black polo shirt. Now, pay attention to their body language and the hand motions that they're making because a lot of viewers think that this is suspect.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
And immediately after those hand movements is when the gunshot rang out. Like, had that video played just 1 or 2 seconds more, we would have seen the assassination. And because both those men make hand movements, make gestures, and then all of a sudden the gunshot rings out, a lot of people say, hey, this timing here, it's raising a lot of red flags. Now, that in itself is not evidence of wrongdoing because, Secret Service, I know that's not Secret Service, but security, they communicate in a lot of ways, right? Whether it's via radio or hand signals. But I do think that in an age where there's skepticism, in an age where there is distrust in our institutions, it's fair game to question that. Hey, it looks suspicious. Let's investigate it. Let's take a look at his security and just make sure that it wasn't, infiltrated and that there was no danger from the inside. I know that whenever I play clips and share theories like that, people say, Daniel, you're just pushing conspiracy theories. Daniel, you need to stay rooted in the facts. Well, no, people have concerns and they have every right to have those concerns addressed. And I'm not scared of that. I believe that the truth comes out eventually, and the truth and the facts always speak for themselves. I'm not afraid of looking at different explanations, different theories. In fact, I think it's the people who try to silence the theories that are responsible for the conspiracies that end up popping out in the fringe corners of the internet. So on this channel, I welcome all sorts of ideas. And in fact, I think the more speech, the more ideas, the more eyes that look at something, the more opportunities we're going to have to actually discover the truth and figure out what happened here. Now, unfortunately, over the last few days, we have just seen the worst of humanity. The media, people online celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. But what's gotten even worse is this has spread to Washington, D.C. itself, in the halls of Congress. A sitting Congresswoman, Ilhan Omar, was caught laughing. She was mocking Charlie Kirk's assassination. Just listen here, and you'll catch the moment specifically when she scoffs.
What I do know for sure is that, Charlie was someone who once said, guns save lives after a school shooting. Charlie was someone who was willing to debate and downplay the death of George Floyd in the hands of Minneapolis police.
I think he called him a scumbag.
Right, have no regard, downplay slavery and what Black people have gone through in this country by saying Juneteenth should never exist. And I think, there are a lot of people who are out there talking about him just wanting to have a civil debate.
Complete rewriting of history.
Yeah, there is nothing more effed up, than to completely pretend that his words and actions have not been recorded and in existence for the last decade or so. And
so she laughs there as if it's funny that his words should be used against him to mock his death or to say that somehow his death was justified. And this is what's happening all over on the left. What they are doing is they're taking not just his words, but they're taking the core conservative arguments completely out of context, not just to demonize him, because this is, quite frankly, I think part of the reason this is resonating so deeply with so many people is we realize he's an avatar for all of us. If they could target us for our beliefs, they would. They didn't silence him just because his name is Charlie Kirk and he looks the way he looks and his DNA is the way he is. They silenced him because he was speaking truth to power. They silenced him because of his beliefs, and he was trying to basically get the younger generation to understand what makes America great, to understand the Constitution, to understand the Founding Fathers, to understand conservative ideals. In fact, BuzzFeed posted 14 Charlie Kirk quotes that have come back, to haunt him. The first one they shared is actually the one that Ilhan Omar referenced, where Charlie Kirk said that he thinks some gun deaths are worth it to have a Second Amendment. But here they completely misrepresent his argument. So yes, the Second Amendment is about self-defense. We all obviously have a right to defend ourselves. It's also obviously a way for us as a country to defend ourselves, but it is beyond that. The reason we have a Second Amendment is to prevent government overreach. And in fact, the Democrats should be all in favor for that. The Democrats claim that Donald Trump is Hitler. The Democrats claim that Donald Trump is an authoritarian and he would turn us into Nazi Germany if he could. Well, guess what? Thanks to the Second Amendment, it makes it far less likely that we will ever have a Nazi or an authoritarian or a dictator like government, because thanks to the Second Amendment, we have guns to defend ourselves from such overreach. So there, the Democrats misrepresent that. They're also misrepresenting what he said about empathy. Charlie Kirk said, I can't stand the word empathy, actually. He said, I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage. Now, the argument here is he doesn't actually have an issue with empathy. Of course, the man has empathy. He has a wife. He has children. He has Christian values. What he was talking about, the context here, is about politics. We cannot base policy on empathy. How stupid would we be as a society if we said, oh, I feel sorry for the kids who took out student loan debt, therefore we should forgive all student loans because I have empathy for them. No, that's not a smart idea. Logically, you would realize that's not fiscally sustainable. The country is already in debt. So his whole point with empathy was it has no place in politics. We need to be focused on practical solutions for real world problems. Last but not least, they take this quote out of context where he said, yes, the baby would be delivered if he had a daughter who was 10 years old and she was raped. And they painted him to be some sort of monster. But of course, they leave out the context, which is that conservatives actually believe that a baby, wanted or unwanted, is a human life. And therefore, aborting the baby, even if it's a result of rape, is murder. That is a true, honestly held belief. And, the Democrats want to spin that as if it's some sort of monstrous thing, as if murder isn't a terrible, monstrous thing. All of that to say, Ilhan Omar and the Democrats can spin and take Charlie Kirk quotes out of context all they want, but I think people are beginning to see through this, and I think the more that they do this, the more extreme they get, the more people will wake up to their antics and realize, hey, I actually don't want to be associated with that side. So in my last upload, right before this, I showed y'all a mystery man. This was the bearded man who immediately after Charlie Kirk was shot, stood up, he appeared to be cheering, pumping his hand in the air. Now, he's actually been identified and he has started issuing statements on X. So just take a look at his defense here. His name is David, and he wrote, losing Charlie Kirk is heavy and we are still mourning. Trust me that I'll be explaining myself very soon, but every lie about me brings me one step closer to becoming very dead and at the hands of the mob. Should I die for hate or entertainment, truth will satisfy and neither appetite. I'm a father, and I feel the weight of Charlie's loss to his family. I stand for my fallen brothers. We are unequal in risk at this moment, so if I address my actions, it will be after some time. I didn't wish to have my face everywhere. I'm terrified for my family and sad for Charlie's too. I cannot bear both. Please pray for Charlie's family. Now, a lot of people did end up calling him out and pointing out some of the things that he did. One of the things he did was he was smiling in all of this. Just a very odd thing to do, and it was immediately after Charlie Kirk was shot. This man was obviously very close to the tent, so he would have seen the blood gushing from Charlie Kirk's neck. In my last video, someone pointed out in the comments, Daniel, this is no different than when President Trump was, the target of an assassination attempt, and the crowd started chanting USA, USA. I think that's what this guy's doing here. No, after President Trump was shot, the crowd was silent. It wasn't until President Trump pumped his fist in the air and chanted fight, fight, fight that the crowd started chanting USA, USA. That's when the chanting happened. If you watch this video, it really, it's just not a good look for this guy. And then his defense actually makes things a lot worse. David says, he claims, I drew attention so the security team could escape. It was dumb. I don't regret it. Someone said, we saw the video. You were smiling, elated. This doesn't add up. David said, I'm the happiest person you would ever meet in your entire life. A lot of people don't buy that, and if you take a look at the likes there, he's obviously being ratioed. Last but not least, he said, I promise to talk, but only after silence and only to two. I've already secured one. The other will come. I wish I could respond to everything coming in, but it's not possible, so forgive me. There is a lot of rage directed at me, but I promise you'll understand when I speak, and I eagerly await to return to silence. Some are upset because I smile, some because I cheer, and others because they don't have the information yet. For everything Charlie represented, I was there for him, and not for his words. I just wanted to meet him. Please, please, please. I'm not like everyone else, and and it's not just to judge me by an edited clip. You should not wish it upon yourselves. Please. Look, he had every chance to come out and defend himself. He didn't have to say something, but he chose to. Maybe he's waiting to speak with a lawyer. Maybe he's waiting till the climate cools down. Personally, I don't think any of his words have calmed any of the suspicions or the anger towards him. I think, quite frankly, based on his responses, he would have been better staying silent. Now, whether or not that man was actually cheering, and I will say it did look like it to me, again, as always, just my opinion, just my analysis, there is actually a college student named Vic, as well as other college students who are all over TikTok celebrating. You've seen many of the clips, but just take a look at this sing-along that they hosted with a megaphone.
We got Charlie in the neck. We got Charlie in the neck. Who's up next? We got Charlie in the neck. We got Charlie in the neck.
And they just keep going on. He has now deleted this post, but he still has his social media up online. In case you didn't understand, when he says who's next, they say DHS is next. So I think that's a threat to Homeland Security, ICE agents, and all of that. And this is actually getting so bad online that Blue Sky has had to issue a warning to all of its users to not post threats against conservatives and to not celebrate Charlie Kirk's death. Blue Sky, this is according to Newsweek, has issued a warning to users after some accounts celebrated the assassination of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk. Glorifying violence or harm violates Blue Sky's community guidelines. We review reports and take action on content that celebrates harm against anyone. Violence has no place in healthy public discourse, and we're committed to fostering healthy, open conversations. I mean, it's called Blue Sky for a reason, right? Anyone who is deluding themselves to thinking Blue Sky is an open space platform like X is just, quite frankly, delusional. It's called Blue because they are Team Blue, and we shouldn't be surprised that Blue Sky is now a place of extremism, because when Elon Musk bought X, his whole goal was to restore free speech, to let conservatives once again have a voice in the public square. But when the when all the leftists left X and went to Blue Sky, they're now behind closed doors, essentially, and they feel free and empowered and emboldened to post whatever extremist rhetoric that they want. It is so bad that Blue Sky had to do that, and it really just tells you how I don't even have the words, just how evil has permeated the left right now. Now, there is good news in regards to how young people are taking in this tragic news and are processing and are honoring the life of Charlie Kirk. But before I get into that, I would like to recognize USMC Car, Rayos 86, Swatchan, Jenny Rankin, Jajung, Lady Gray, Conserva Girl Cleo, Wood Dragon Guy, and Greg Anderson as the members of today's Governor's Club. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I am so glad that you enjoy. Well, Clay Travis posted this on X. My two oldest sons wore coats and ties to school today, something they normally hate to do today in honor of Charlie Kirk. The entire school is doing it. I'm not sure most people realize even yet how much he connected with young boys and young men and how crushed these kids are just left and right. Kyle Matthews, a CEO, posted the exact same thing, and there are parents all over social media, especially those with sons, saying that they are going to school in coats and ties, basically to remember and honor the life of Charlie Kirk. And I think that sort of honoring without prompting from the parents, and many of these parents didn't even know that their kids were into politics, really just shows you the depth and the breadth of impact that Charlie Kirk had. And I think it's inspiring, and I think it shows that the left can try to silence us all they want, but in reality, all they've done is awaken a sleeping giant. As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary, and that is what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So the mystery bearded man has spoken out. Do you buy his explanation? Do you buy his excuses? Do you think he's being unfairly targeted online? Or do you think, hey, your excuses don't stand up, dude? It looked like you were cheering. It looked like you were celebrating. Like, really? You want us to believe that you were distracting the shooter, putting yourself out there? By the way, there's a separate post. I didn't share it here. He basically compared himself to Jesus Christ. You're saying that you would have been crucified here? Like, yeah. Do you buy his explanation? Do you not? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.